Chapter 7. So he's been going back, kind of covering the basis of Christ. At the end of chapter 5, he kind of got on to him. You shouldn't be in the milk, you ought to be in the meats, you ought to be teachers. Chapter 6, he went through the impossible, and now he started bringing where Christ is, how he has become the high priest. There is still people in this time that was still believing in Judaism, which was going to the temple, bringing sacrifices. They still had priests going in behind the veil. Well, when Christ died, he ripped the veil. So he's relaying some of this foundation to show that we have a new covenant now. Hebrews chapter 7, verse 1. For this Melchizedek, king of Salem, priest of the Most High God, who met Abraham returning from the slaughter of the kings and blessed him, to whom Abraham also gave a tenth part of all, first being translated King of Righteousness, and then also King of Salem, meaning King of Peace, without father, without mother, without genealogy, having neither a beginning of days nor end of life, but made like a son of God, remains a priest continually. There is no recording of Melchizedek's birth, Melchizedek's death. We don't know where he came from. He was the king of Salem, which ends up being turned into Jerusalem. This is back before Abraham got his name changed to Abraham. He was still called Abram at this time. There was a war that had been going on. They had captured Lot. Word got back to Abram. Him and his army go in, they wipe them out, rescue Lot, gather all the spoils of the plunder, and they've returned. And here's Melchizedek to welcome them back. Now, Abram is a religious man at this time. He does believe in God. But at this time, he pays Melchizedek the tithe. We have no recording of where Melchizedek come from. So it's easy to say he wasn't a Jew. But yet Abram pays him the tenth because he knows Melchizedek is the priest of the Most High God. Verse 4. Now consider how great this man was, to whom even the patriarch Abraham gave a tenth of the spoils. That's saying something. He was somebody. That Abraham gave him the tithe. And indeed, those who are sons of Levi, who receive the priesthood, have commandment to receive tithes from the people according to the law, that is, from their brethren, though they have come from the loins of Abraham, but he whose genealogy is not derived from the received tithes of Abraham, and blessed him who had the promises. Now, beyond all contradiction, the lesser blessed the better. Here mortal men received tithes, but there he receives them, of whom it is witnessed that he lives. Even Levi, who receives the tithes, paid tithes through Abraham, so to speak, for he was still in the loins of his father when Melchizedek met him. So Abraham gave Melchizedek the tithes. They're comparing Melchizedek to Christ right here. He had no beginning, he had no end. He had no mother, he had no father. But he was God's high priest. For mortal men receive the tithes, but here he receives them. Melchizedek received Abraham. He received the genealogy, basically handing them to God. Wasn't material things. They received the material, the tithes. He passed them on to God. Now they mention Levi, who receives the tithes and pays through Abraham, so to speak. He was still in the loins. This is important. And I'll see if I can get through this and explain it. The Levite priesthood. Jacob was the son of Isaac and Rebekah. Isaac was the promised son of Abraham that he put on the altar. Jacob was the younger twin brother to Esau. I don't know if you remember the story. I've got it wrote down. We can run through it in a minute. Jacob tricked Isaac into getting Esau's birthright. And God withheld it. Didn't withhold it. He stuck with it. Jacob was married to Leah and Rachel. Levi was Jacob and Leah's third son. He is the original ancestor of the priest of Israel. I don't remember where. I think it's in Exodus. Some people had done some bad things to Levi's sister, and Levi went and wiped them out quite rudely. Before the line of Levi, Israel's priest and temple personnel were to be drawn from the firstborn of every family in Israel. So before Aaron comes out in Levi's genealogy. Before Aaron, the priest in the temple and the personnel of the temple were all of the firstborn of the families of Israel. Numbers chapter 3, kind of back all of this up for you. Numbers chapter 3, verses 5 through 13. Now, this is in the day of Moses. This is going to show when God pulls the tribe of Levi to put them in the priesthood. Numbers 3, verse 5 through 13. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Bring the tribe of Levi near, and present them before me. Present them before Aaron the priest, that they may serve him. And they shall attend to his needs and the needs of the whole congregation before the tabernacle of the meeting, to do the work of the tabernacle. Also they shall attend the furnishings of the tabernacle of meeting, and to the needs of the children of Israel, to do the work of the tabernacle. And you shall give the Levites to Aaron and his sons. They are given entirely to him from among the children of Israel, So you shall appoint Aaron and his sons, and they shall attend to their priesthood. But the outsider who comes near shall be put to death. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Now behold, I myself have taken the Levites from among the children of Israel, instead of every firstborn who opens a womb among children of Israel. Therefore the Levites shall be mine, because all the firstborn are mine. On the day that I struck all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, I sanctified to myself all the firstborn in Israel. Before man and beast, they shall be mine. I am the Lord. I'll show you here in a minute how Aaron is of the line of Levi. I've just got to build all this up. So that right there is when God put it in. The Levites are going to take over the temple. They're going to be the priesthood. They're learning from Aaron. Exodus chapter 32. This is why God chose the tribe of Levi. Exodus 32, 19 through 29. Moses has been up the mountain, receiving the 10 Commandments at this time. The Israelites down below. Moses has been up the mountain so long they're getting nervous. They can't stand it anymore. So they go to Aaron. Make us an idol so that we can have a God to lead us out of here. Aaron tells them, rip the gold from your earrings and this and that, and I will melt it down and build you an idol. And he builds them a golden calf. Moses is still up the mountain. God tells him, you need to go down and take care of these people right now. They're worshiping an idol. So in verse 19, so it was soon as he came near to the camp, this was Moses, he saw the calf and the dancing. So Moses' anger became hot. He cast the tablets out of his hands and broke them at the foot of the mountain. Then he took the calf which they had made, burned it in the fire, and ground it to a powder, and scattered it in the water, and made the children of Israel drink it. And Moses said to Aaron, what did this people do to you, that you have brought so great a sin upon them? So Aaron said, do not let the anger of my Lord become hot. You know the people, that they are set on evil. For they said to me, make us a God that shall go before us. As for this Moses, the man who brought us out of the land of Egypt, we do not know what is become of him. And I said to them, whatsoever have any gold, let them break it off. So they gave it to me. I cast it into the fire, and this calf came out. Now when Moses saw the people were unrestrained, for Aaron had not restrained them to their shame among their enemies, Moses stood in the entrance of the camp and said, whoever is on the Lord's side, come to me. And all of the sons of Levi gathered themselves together to him. That's why God chose Levi's camp. They were the only ones that stood with Moses on the right side. So that's why they were chosen. Now over in Numbers we showed where God goes ahead and gives the order. Aaron was Moses' brother and Israel's first high priest. His parents were from the tribe of Levi. Exodus chapter 6, verse 16 through 20. There's going to be a whole lot of sons and daughters and family of this and that. This is going to show how Aaron comes from Levi's line. Verse 16. These are the names of the sons of Levi according to their generations: Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. And the years of the life of Levi were 137. The sons of Gershon were Libni, Shimi, according to their families. And the sons of Kohath were Amram, Azar, Hebron, Uzal. And the years of the life of Kohath were 133. The sons of Mari were Mahli and Mushi. These are the families of Levi according to their generations. Now Aaron took for himself Jochebed, his father's sister, as a wife, and she bore him Aaron and Moses. Aaron was the son of Kohath, which is out of the line of Levi. So you see how even the first high priest, being Aaron, was still in the Levi family. The reason I want to show that back over here in Hebrews, where he says, even Levi, who receives the tithes. Why did he receive the tithes? Because his family, his tribe, was put in to be the priesthood of the Israelites. That's part of being the priesthood, was receiving the tithes. Even Levi, who receives the tithes, paid through Abraham, so to speak, because he was still in his father's loins. Isaac hadn't even been born yet. Isaac was the father of Jacob, so it would have been Levi's granddaddy. Hadn't even been born yet. But God already knew what he was going to do. Generations back, he had already set it up and had the line going. We're not quite there yet, but I'm going to put it out. Judah is the fourth son of Jacob and Leah. So he is Levi's little brother. Through his genealogy line that led to Jesus. David, King David, was born out of Judah's genealogy line. Christ came through David, so in return he come through Judah's line. Joseph, Mary and Joseph, Christ's adopted father on earth, also came through Judah's line. He was a descendant of David. David was a descendant of Judah. So all this is tying together. I hope it'll tie together as I go through this and make sense. So, back to Hebrews, Melchizedek. Abraham paid a tenth to him. Melchizedek basically received them for Christ. So when he received them, at this time, Abraham was still Abram. He hasn't received the promise of being the father of many nations yet. Do you see how God has set him up? And Melchizedek took him like he took Abram's soul and gave it to God. All of this is lining up to go in line with what the law is going to be. The law hadn't been made yet, but God already knew it was going to. So he's setting it up. Verse 11. Therefore, if perfection were through the Levitical priesthood, for under it the people received the law, what further need was there that another priest should rise according to the order of Melchizedek, and not be called according to the order of Aaron? If it was so good, why did we need another one? For the priesthood being changed of necessity, there was also a change of the law. For he of whom these things are spoken belongs to another tribe, from which no man has officiated at the altar. Remember, the line of Levi is the one that takes care of the temple. For it is evident that our Lord arose from Judah, of which the tribe of Moses spoke nothing concerning the priesthood. Judah was the younger brother of Levi. Levi, his tribe, his line was the one that took care of the tabernacle. They were the priests. They were the tithe takers. They were the sacrifice offerers. Where did Jesus came from? He came out of the tribe of Judah. So not only has the law changed, everything is changing. And it is yet far more evident if in the likeness of Melchizedek there arises another priest, who has come not according to the law of the fleshly commandment, but according to the power of an endless life. For he testifies, "You are a priest forever, according to the order of Melchizedek." So all this line of Levi that has been priest, that has run the temple, every one of them's died. Every one of them had a certain years of life, and then they died. Now there's one that's going to live forever, that's going to reign forever. So now things are changing. What he's setting up, what he's about to try to show everybody is, you're not under law anymore. You don't do the sacrifices anymore. That's what he's setting this up for. Let's go to Psalms 110. Psalms 110 is a prophecy psalm. It is talking about Christ's coming. Yes, sir. Psalms 110. Announcement of the Messiah's reign, a psalm of David. David wrote this. The Lord said to my Lord. David was the king. The Lord to him is God. So the Lord said to my Lord. Now there's two. God speaking to Christ. Sit at my right hand, till I make your enemies your footstool. The Lord shall send the rod of your strength out of Zion. Rule in the midst of your enemies. Your people shall be volunteers in the day of your power. Shall be volunteers. It's your choice whether you believe or not. You volunteer. And the beauties of holiness from the womb of the morning. You have the dew of your youth. The Lord has sworn and will not relent. You are a priest forever, according to the order of Melchizedek. The Lord is at your right hand. He shall execute kings in the day of his wrath. He shall judge among the nations. He will fill the places with dead bodies. He shall execute the heads of many countries. He shall drink of the brook by the wayside. Therefore he shall lift up the head. Now this was prophecy. David was king. They believed in God. They knew nothing of the Lord. They didn't know there was a son. He compares him to Melchizedek. Now this prophecy we know comes true. But that's what he's comparing him to back over here in Hebrews. You are a priest forever, according to the order of Melchizedek. We're not having the high priest die and waiting for the next one to step up in line. He lives forever.